All right, what's up, Pride Nation? Back at you with another video on today. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Do not miss an upload. Also, make sure you click the bell so that you'll be notified whenever we put up an upload. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to do some Detroit Lions talk as we get ready for the Philadelphia Eagles. I just want to talk about a couple things about Brad Holmes, and I just want to share my heart. And make sure you guys pull up a chair if you have to. Make sure you turn up your TVs and make sure that they're loud enough so that you'll be able to hear everything that I'm going to say to you, because ultimately at the end of the day, man, we all want to see this franchise win football games, whether you call us YouTube GMs or whatever you want to call us, man. You know, some of us understand the game of football and we understand what this team needs to have to be able to be successful. And it's a indictment on us that we don't have certain things on this team to be successful like we truly should. We know that going into the season, we're not going to be at full strength on our offensive line. I know you guys heard the news today that Big V is going to be out approximately about 4 weeks out on IR. And then I already know you guys know Brad Holmes had the presser, and he was talking about the situation with knowing that Levi was hurt, and he still decided to draft him. And now we double back a year later, and we draft Josh Pascal, who pretty much is out as well. So we got 2 second-round guys that right now looks like they won't be playing in the Philadelphia game. But today, you know, shout out to my boy Micro Mike. He put me on it, and he was telling me about an article about Brad Holmes talking about the linebacking situation. And, you know, that kind of perked my ears up because I believe that this franchise needs a stud at linebacker. Now, I do not know what Malcolm Rodriguez is going to be. I do know that they drafted him this season as a 6th-round linebacker, and maybe that's where Brad Holmes sees the value, grabbing somebody in the 6th round and turning them ultimately into a starter. You never know. Maybe Malcolm Rodriguez will turn out to be the real deal. We don't know yet. We'll find out pretty soon, you know, because we know that he's an undersized linebacker. We know that he doesn't have the longest arms, and he's going to have to cover probably some of the best tight ends in the NFL. And there's a lot of things that's going to be on this young man, especially if he's going to be starting. There's going to be a lot of things thrown his way. So he has to be able to catch these things, and he has to be able to receive these things. But not only that, he has to be able to go out there and ball out. At the end of the day, you want to see Malcolm Rodriguez ball out. You want to see Derek Barnes ball out. You want to see all your linebackers ball out. Alex Anzalone, all of these guys. You want to see these guys ball out. Now, from the report that I was reading on today, it was just talking about Brad Holmes, and it said that Detroit's GM Brad Holmes' actions and words say his Lions will never draft a linebacker early. And then I had to really ponder that, and I really had to think about it, and I just kind of want to expound it to you guys on what I had to ponder in my mind, because when I think about the franchise, I think about not having an all-pro caliber linebacker for 31 years. Did you just hear what I just said? Let me say this to you again. Your franchise, the Detroit Lions, have not had a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker since 1994. That would be 28 years, and that was Chris Spielman. But 31 years was the last time we had an all-pro caliber linebacker, and that was Chris Spielman again. We know that Chris Spielman was a beast on his team. He was a tackling machine, and he made plays. Now, the 2 most successful linebackers that the Lions had in this franchise was Chris Spielman and Joe Schmidt. They were pretty much the best linebacker ever in history. Now, I do know the years that we had Levy and we had Steven Tulloch, but other than that, man, it's always been a rotational thing with the linebackers. You know, we draft linebackers. You know, guys like Jared Davis, Jelani Tavai, and these guys end up not panning out. Antoine Williams, Ernie Sims, all these names. If I just dig deep, Stephen Boyd, Teddy Lehman, a lot of different linebackers that the Detroit Lions have been through. But it's just a shame, and it's an indictment to our franchise that we can't draft an all-pro caliber linebacker, or these guys are not developing to an all-pro linebacker. Just period, man. So what an indictment to our franchise when you think about some of the other franchises. And, you know, it hurt my heart to hear Brad Holmes say that, pretty much he's not even looking to take a linebacker in the first round. So guys, when 2023 comes, don't be looking for a linebacker to be taken early, because from the action and the words of Brad Holmes, it doesn't look like you're going to be drafting a linebacker early. And I know most of us as fans got our mindset on that we're going to take a linebacker early. We're going to take a linebacker either in the first round, because we got 2 picks, I believe, and we may take one in the second round or whatever. It doesn't look that way. It looks like our linebackers will be drafted later. Now, can you still find a stud in the later rounds? Yes, but you have to know how to draft, period. And that's something that our franchise has not been good at. Let's just keep it a hundo. Our franchise has not been good at drafting. We hit and miss on players. We might hit on Hutch, and we might hit on J-Mo, but then we won't hit on anybody else. You're thinking like, man, Derek Barnes should be further along than what he is, or Malcolm Rodriguez should be, I'm just saying, guys, I'm just saying those names. I'm not saying that Derek Barnes or Malcolm Rodriguez is not going to turn out to be good football players, because I don't know that. I can't say that. I can't speak upon that. But what I'm speaking upon is just a shame on us that we can't find greatness at the linebacker position. And I know some people may say, and they may listen to this video, and they may say, well, you don't really need a linebacker to be successful. Well, you have to go back and rewind things, and you think about a lot of the great defenses in the NFL, they had great linebackers. I'll name a few linebackers that you guys probably know, and I'm going to tell you when these guys was drafted, and it's going to kind of tell you what other franchises have been able to do that we are talking about not doing. And we're talking about not getting a guy in the first round. So let me name a few linebackers that have been drafted in the first round. In 1981, the first round, pick number 2 overall, Lawrence Taylor, went to the Giants. We know that LT is one of the best linebackers all time. 1995, first round, 28th overall, Derek Brooks, who played for the Tampa Bay Bucks. He was a dog. 1996, one of the greatest linebackers of all time, was drafted in the first round, 26th overall, and his name is Ray Lewis, and he played for the Baltimore Ravens. In 2000, another first round, 9th overall linebacker was selected by the Chicago Bears, and we know who this guy is. Brian Urlacher was a beast for Chicago back in the days. He definitely manned that middle when he was in Chicago. And then you think about in 2007, another first round selected linebacker, selected 11th overall, Patrick Willis out of Ole Miss. Patrick Willis was a beast. And he retired early. He retired after 8 seasons. 8 seasons in the league, and this dude retired. But he was a beast at the linebacker position. And then when you go again and you look in 2011, first round, 2nd pick overall, Von Miller, the Denver Broncos. So you see there's a little format going on here. And then if I can just add one more linebacker to the room. In 2012, first round, selected 9th overall by the Carolina Panthers, Luke Kuechly. So you see where I'm going with this, guys. Our GM should never put that on his mouth and say that you'll never take a linebacker early, because these guys are studs. These guys are studs. Can you find linebackers in the later rounds? Yes. But you never pass up on a linebacker that you know that can be great for your defense. The thing that the Lions fear so much is being great. Stop being afraid, Detroit, to be great. You can be great just like any other NFL team, but you gotta draft premium talent. The only way the Detroit Lions franchise is going to truly change is if the culture changes And the culture has to change from winning football games and getting talent that you draft. The Lions must get better with drafting. If you go into the history of the Lions and you see all the second round picks that pretty much have not panned out for us. If DeAndre Swift doesn't pan out for us and goes over 1,000 yards or have 1,000 yards receiving or whatever this thing that Swift is trying to do, have 1,000 out the backfield and 1,000 catching, that's a great thing to have, but he's in a run by committee. So it's going to be tough for Swift to get 1,000 catching and 1,000 out the backfield, but he could get 1,000 out the backfield because he has the skill set to do it, and he has the skill set to do it in receiving. We know he's one of the best receiving running backs. But at the same time, if you're a GM, you never say things that Brad Holmes is saying. You never say this stuff. Is that you don't find value in a linebacker until the later rounds. No. If you see a linebacker that can come in here and help change this defense, you draft them. All the linebackers that I just mentioned to you guys, they changed their team. These were franchise linebackers. Lawrence Taylor was a dog. Derek Brooks, a dog. Ray Lewis, a dog. Brian Urlacher, a dog. Patrick Willis, a dog. Von Miller, still playing, a dog. Luke Kuechly retired after 8 seasons, just like Patrick Willis, a dog. You don't ever run away from drafting a dog. If I'm the GM, my mind is drafting a dog. I'm thinking about drafting the next Lawrence Taylor. I'm thinking about drafting the next Derek Brooks. I'm thinking about drafting the next Ray Lewis. I'm thinking about drafting the next Brian Urlacher. I'm thinking about drafting the next Patrick Willis. I'm thinking about drafting Von Miller. I'm thinking about drafting Luke Kuechly. I'm thinking. As a GM, you're supposed to get this team better. Better. We can't continue to keep doing the same things in Detroit by grabbing injured players. Do players get hurt? Yes, they do get hurt. We can't continue to have a history. We can't go into 2023, guys, drafting more injured players. We need guys to be out on the football team. We're not at full strength in Detroit. We're not at full strength on the offensive line right now. Big V is out. We don't have Levi right now. We're not at full strength on defense. We don't have Josh Pascal. So we're still wondering as fans, what type of player do we have in Levi? What type of player do we have in Josh Pascal? What type of player? Only time will tell if Brad Holmes is really going to turn this Detroit Lions team around. Because I'm starting to wonder and I'm starting to ponder some of the decision making. You knew that you needed a quarterback. You knew that you could have drafted a guy in the later rounds. You didn't have to take an early guy. Look at Sam Howell. He went in the 5th round. Skylar Thompson, he went in the 7th round. Chase Garbers, that's playing with the Raiders, he went in the later rounds. I don't know if the Lions just feel like no other quarterback is competent, or maybe it's just the fact that the Lions don't want to give any competition to the quarterback spot at all. And I'm not saying the competition just to come in here and take Jared Goff's spot. I'm just saying having a guy back there that's solid. And I know a lot of fans are saying, like, man, why are you guys always bickering and fighting over a backup quarterback? Because it's important. The quarterback position is important. You may not see it that way as a fan, but I see it that way. Because if my starter goes down, I still want to win football games. I don't want to lose. I want to win. You have to have that winner's mentality, man. You can't have a loser mentality. Oh, yeah, it doesn't matter who our quarterback is. Why do you think that the Lions are just selecting any quarterback? They're selecting anybody now. They didn't take the time to say, okay, let me go get Cam. Let me go get such and such, somebody that can provide leadership. They didn't do that. They didn't say, let me go get Nick Foles or Ryan Fitzpatrick or whoever, even though I think Ryan Fitzpatrick might have retired. But they didn't do that. So that's why I say, guys, Brad Holmes, he has to get better with his decision-making. Because this offseason, his decision-making, as far as neglecting to get a solid backup quarterback, and like I said, guys, even if he didn't draft one, he could have got one in free agency. We already knew as fans that Tim Boyle and David Blah was not it. There's nothing wrong with grabbing a young fella to groom. And if you feel like that young fella couldn't do it, then you can double back in 2023 and get you ultimately a long-term situation out of a quarterback that will be here, that will be right behind Goff, because the Lions are going to have, if Goff goes and ball out, the Lions are going to have to extend him. They're probably going to extend him. You know how the Lions handle their business. But the matter of it is about this video is the linebacking situation. The Detroit Lions need studs at linebacker. I don't know what Malcolm Rodriguez is going to look like. I'm willing to give him the opportunity and the benefit of the doubt. He is undersized, but it doesn't matter. Bobby Wagner is not that big. He's only 6 foot. Nakobe Dean is only about 6 foot. So it really doesn't matter the size. It just matters the heart. And can you play, period. Now, the biggest thing that I know with the Detroit Lions is that we have a tough time stopping mobile quarterbacks. We have a tough time stopping the run, and we can't cover tight ends. And that may be a situation where you may have to bring in a different package. I don't even know who the best cover linebacker on our team is. I don't know. I mean, if you guys know who the best coverage linebacker on our team, let me know. Whether it's Alex Anzalone or Malcolm Rodriguez or Derek Barnes or Josh Woods or Chris Board. I don't even know who's the best coverage linebacker on this team, but we're going to find out soon. When you see this team play against the Philadelphia Eagles, you're going to understand some things clearly, and you're going to know what type of team that you're dealing with going into the season. And like I said before, guys, I don't think that the Lions are going to win. I can't say that the Lions are going to the playoffs this season. I see them winning anywhere between 6 to 9 games this season. And I've kept it there all in the offseason. I believe that the Lions can win anywhere between 6 and 9 football games. This team is not ready, and they're not going to be ready until they get the pieces that they need on defense. Now you have to go back again and double back again and draft more trenches in 2023 because of the Levi situation or because Josh Pascal. So now you're going to have to go out and get another defensive tackle when we should be focusing on tighten up that core of the linebackers. Detroit needs linebackers, and Brad Holmes continues to not address it. We're grabbing all these other players, but we will not grab a linebacker. I don't know why we are afraid to grab linebackers. I don't understand it. For the death of me, I don't understand it. But we got to get better with our decision making, and that comes from Brad Holmes and the staff that scout talent. You need premium talent in Detroit. If you want this team to go to the next level, you better start drafting some premium talent, and you better get them at the positions that you should be taking them at. You need a stud at linebacker. You need a guy that can be a leader on that linebacking core, and we don't have that. So we'll see if Malcolm Rodriguez has what it takes to be that, but he's a 6th-round pick, and if he's a 6th-round pick, then what is that saying to us? The 6th-round pick is the best linebacker on this team, so that lets you know that we need to draft linebacker. And for him to not take it serious and take a linebacker in the 1st round or the 2nd round, you got to be kidding me, man. This is unreal, man. Brad Holmes, you got to change this defense, man, and you got to go out and draft some dogs on defense. That's when the Detroit Lions defense is going to get better. Once they go and get dogs on this defense, whether it be a defensive tackle, whether it be a linebacker, you got to go out there and you got to go get the talent to be able to help this Detroit Lions team get to where they need to be, and that's winning more football games. All right, you guys, I'm out of here. Till next time.